Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. So we all know what time it is. It is deck of panning time. I'm here to do my February update for the deck of panning Project Pan, which was a project created by Emily from Emily and Max. She was inspired by a booktuber named Books with Maddi, who figured out a pretty genius way to use a deck of cards to gamify her to-be-read pile, and we're basically doing the same thing with our makeup. So I will leave a link below for Emily, Maddi, and the game board for deck of panning, which Emily shuffles for us every month just to keep things interesting. I will leave links for all of those things in the description box below. First, we're going to take a look at how I did with the prompts that I pulled last month, and then we will draw some new cards. I'm so excited. So last month I pulled the King of Clubs, which corresponded with the prompt focus. The whole point of the focus prompt is to reflect back on what your panning goals were at the beginning of the year, kind of your focus for the year, and use that to inform your choice. And one of my goals for the beginning of the year was to allow myself to play a little bit more with the newer things in my collection that I'm really excited about, but maybe haven't gotten to dip into as much, because for the last year, I've really been focusing super hard on trying to pan the older products in my collection, which is great. And I'm super pleased with all the progress that I've made in that area, but I'm really kind of itching to play with some of this newer stuff as well. So for that prompt, I picked my Pat McGrath Bijou Brilliance face palette in the shade Starstruck Splendor. There are a couple of blushes in here. There are some beautiful eyeshadows in here. I rolled this in to use 13 times. I have managed to use it 10 times over the last month, and I have 3 uses left. So we're going to be keeping this one in for another 3 uses. The next thing I drew was the Queen of Clubs, and that corresponded with the prompt, pick your space. And so you're allowed to pick whatever space on the game board that you want within the same suite. So in the club suite. The one I chose was Out of Your Hands, where you have someone else basically pick the product for you. What I did was I used my random multiple choice little spinny wheels. I had a bunch of little spinny wheels last year for my That's Expensive project pan. And so I used those wheels to pick several products out of my collection. I put them all in a box, and I had my husband pick out the one he wanted me to work on. And he chose this. This is my Natasha Denona My Dream Cheek Trio. It's got a blush and 2 formulas of highlight. I rolled it in for 12 uses, and I have used it 12 times. Most of those 12 uses, I used the blush and at least one of the highlights, and occasionally I used both of the highlights. Recently, I have actually seen a couple of negative reviews for this palette, and to be honest, I don't understand why, because it is beautiful. Now, I do admit I'm a little bit put off by Natasha Denona's cream formula, because on the cream to powder spectrum, they're much closer to a powder than I really expect when I'm going into a cream product. They're very dense and very, very dry for a cream. So in a way, her creams kind of feel like, to me, like a cream product that has dried out. But usually the problem there is that you don't get enough pigment, but I get plenty of pigment with her cream formulas. So that is not a complaint of mine. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the whole thing for you, because this just is such a pretty palette. So this is the mauve shade. It's a little bit of a warmer mauve that I was really hoping for when I picked up the palette, but I still think it works really well even on my slightly cooler skin tone. And these are the 2 highlights. This is the cream highlight here in the middle, and this is the powder highlight here. I actually usually go in, if I'm wearing both, if I want a really glowy cheek, I will go in with the powder and then just tap a little bit of the cream on top, just to give a little bit of that creamier highlighted look. It is a really, really pretty palette, and I'm glad I was able to get a little bit more use out of it. So the next prompt I pulled was the 3 of Diamonds, and that corresponded to the prompt Glittery. And for that, I pulled my Dose of Colors Ideal Duo, which is, it's got this little cream eyeshadow base on top, and then underneath this, I wish you could see it in person, because it's so much more impressive in person. Every time I film this product, it just, you can't see how sparkly and gorgeous it is. It is so pretty. I actually just filmed the declutter for my single shadows, including my liquids and creams and these little duos here. So I have another one of them. This one is in the shade Sticks and Stones, and it has a more taupey cream on there, which I actually like better. But the shimmer that corresponds to the taupey cream is kind of this darker shimmer that I don't get as much use out of. So what I decided to do is, because this is my favorite cream shadow, and this is my favorite, the loose shadows on the bottom, I decided that once I had met my goals here for deck of panning, that I would just swap the 2. So I'm going to pair this glittery loose shadow with this taupey cream. I rolled this little duo in for 3 uses and I used it 3 times. And I also remembered how much I love these products. So this is my brand new product with the taupe cream and the glittery shimmer. Let me swatch though, just for fun. Let me swatch. This is the one that I have been using this month as part of this project. So that is the cream there. It is so pretty. It's this beautiful rose gold, but I do prefer the taupe a little bit more. I'm gonna swatch that one too, just for funsies. So that's the rose gold and that's the taupe. This is the one I'm gonna be keeping. And then what I like to do is I like to take this glittery shadow and just tap it over top. And it helps kind of cling on to, my mic is just trying to take over my life. Okay. So this is the glitter over the rose gold shadow. Again, the camera just does not do it justice. And then over the taupe. They're just, oh gosh, they're both beautiful, but this is the one I'm going to be keeping from here on out. And the other one is going to get decluttered. Really enjoyed revisiting that product and it is rolling out. Next, I drew the Ace of Clubs, which was, there was a lot of clubs face cards here. I swear to you, I shuffled. But the prompt for Ace of Clubs was a baby goal. And for that, I rolled in the travel size of my Kilian's Angel Share perfume. I put a little bit of washi tape here at the bottom so I could mark where we were at when we first started. My phone doesn't want to focus. It wants to focus on my face. Okay. That's where we started. I actually managed to get 10 uses out of the bottom of that bottle. The last 2 uses, granted, were very, very light spritzes, but this is an incredibly potent perfume, so that was okay. As far as projection and like lasting power, I think this is probably the best perfume in my collection. It is everything that I wish all the Kayali perfumes were, but man, those are the opposite. They are so faint and they leave so quickly. But whenever I wear this one, my husband actually notices I'm wearing perfume. I actually get a, ooh, you smell good when I wear this. That he doesn't do that with anything else in my collection. This is a little warmer and spicier than I tend to go for in a scent, but at this time of year, when it's kind of cold, it's kind of gloomy, it's just a really cozy scent, and I really, really enjoyed using up the rest of this. So I rolled this one in to finish, and we have completed it after 10 uses. The last card that I drew was the 4 of Spades, and that was for the prompt oldest. Not oldest in your collection, but oldest in a specific category. So what I did was I just pulled several different products that I know are the oldest in their specific category, and I just went ahead and randomized that on screen with you guys. Give me a number between 1 and 5.
That would be 4.
4. So that's the eyeliner. So this was the winner. This is my Rimmel Scandalize. Exaggerize, Scandalize. I think it's Scandalize. The writing has pretty much rubbed off at this point. This is a beautiful, really, really black, super blendable eyeliner that sets down and does not budge. It is one of the best eyeliners I've ever used, drugstore or high-end. It was in my 24 and 24 last year, but obviously I did not quite get it done. So I'm glad I was able to get a little bit more progress on it this last month. I rolled it in for 4 uses and actually used it 8 times. So that one is rolling out as well. So that's all the progress that I made on these products last month. Not quite a full refresh, but very close to a full refresh. We're gonna go ahead and draw 4 new cards. So I've got my deck of Mandalorian cards here. I'm just gonna try to find the Jokers. So I'm gonna take this Joker, which is this cute little Jawa. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it into the deck and we're gonna shuffle. Now, Emily has mentioned that this was not necessarily intended to be a rolling project. I do prefer usage goals where I get at least somewhat of a refresh every month because I really enjoy the kind of shop your stash aspect this project takes on when I'm working towards usage goals. However, if you prefer the satisfaction of actually panning or completing products, you can absolutely play it that way as well. Okay, just a couple more. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and draw 4 of these. The first one, the 9 of Hearts, 10 of Clubs, 5 of Spades, and the 10 of Diamonds. Awesome. No face cards this time, but no Joker either. Okay, let's pull up the game board and we'll see what my prompts are this month. Okay, this is the 2025 game board. So the first one I pulled was the 9 of Hearts. That is a mini or a sample, okay. Then we have the 10 of Clubs, which is Copycat. I don't know. I don't think I've ever gotten that prompt. Let's check it out. Copycat. A product you've seen someone else panning. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Then I pulled the 5 of Spades, which is Splurge. I think that's probably self-explanatory, but let's check just in case. A high-end or luxury item. And last one was the 10 of Diamonds, which is something seasonal. Okay, we got some interesting ones. I'm going to go ahead and pick out my products and I will be right back. I'm so excited. One of these in particular, I am so excited about. I mean, they're all great. I'm going to have fun with all of them, but one in particular, I'm so excited about. So the first card that I drew was the 9 of Hearts, and that was for a mini or a sample. And I have been working through a little set of mini mascaras that I picked up in November, and I have just finished the Benefit Flutterlash. I think it was called Flutterlash. I think so. There was a Benefit one in there. Really enjoyed that one, but it is pretty much dried up, and so I'm ready to retire that one and crack open a new one. And I have picked the Milk Rise mascara. I haven't heard much about this mascara. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if people like it or if they don't like it. I don't know how I will feel about it, but I'm going to use it anyway, so hopefully it's not terrible. So the way I like to do my usage goals in Deck of Panning is to use the number on the card, in this case a 9, to inform how many times I'm going to use a single product. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this one in for 9 uses. The next one is the one I'm super excited about. So this was the 10 of Clubs. This one was for a copycat product. Basically, I'm supposed to draw a product that I have seen someone else pan. And for that, I'm rolling in this. This is the Adept Minka palette. The reason why this is so special isn't just because it is a gorgeous palette, but because last month in her Deck of Panning intro, Ruth Foley here on YouTube, she pulled the Minka palette for one of her prompts. I think it was for the glittery prompt. And after she was done with her uses, she packed it up and she sent it to me. So not only is this the same product that Ruth pulled in January, this is the actual same palette that she pulled. The Minka palette is a palette that I had had on my wish list for ages and never pulled the trigger. I know that there is a new one. They have reformulated and completely redone the whole palette. There are more mattes in the new one. It has a different packaging. It's a different format. But to be perfectly honest, this one just looks more delicious to me than the other one does. Now Ruth, because she is such an angel, when she found out that this was on my list of palettes that got away, you know, the ones that got away, she so kindly offered to send this to me in exchange for a couple of products that I picked up from her here in the States that she can't get her hands on in Ireland. So this palette came all the way from Ireland to me, and I am so excited to play with it. I have swatched a few of the shades, and I think I think it was Maya, this one here. I wore that on my inside corner for the makeup look I was wearing in my 50 Shades of Brown Project Pan update, which I filmed about a week ago. But other than that, I really haven't had a chance to like really get in there and play with this. So I could just choose one shadow, but I want to just play with this whole palette. So I'm going to be rolling the palette as a whole into this project for 10 uses, and I could not be more excited. Ruth, thank you so much. You are just a doll, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get this on my eyeballs. So rolling this one in for 10 uses. Then I pulled the 5 of Spades, and that was for a splurge product. And the single product that I have spent the most money on for the last, probably ever, probably not ever, but for a very long time. And that is my Kayali Eden Juicy Apple perfume. I love this perfume. It is so delicious. Now, unfortunately, it's a little weak sauce. As far as like the formulation of this perfume goes, it is a little weak. It doesn't project very well on me, and it doesn't last very long, but my gosh, My gosh, does it smell delicious. Anyway, I picked this up back in November. It cost me $100, which is the most I've ever spent on any perfume ever in my entire life. And so yeah, I feel like that absolutely fits the bill of a splurge product. So this is coming in for 5 uses. Okay, last one, I pulled the 10 of Diamonds, which is a seasonal product. And for that, I decided to roll in this little bottle of the Soul Body hair and body oil. This stuff smells so lovely. It smells coconutty and summery. It's getting a little bit older in my collection. It is hard for me to go through oils of any kind because I have combo oily skin, and for the majority of the year, oils just are not a good, they just are not a good match for me. However, we're still in the middle of our cold weather, and so what better time for me to get use out of a hair and body oil? So because this is primarily a cold weather usage type product for me, I felt like that fit the prompt of seasonal. So I will be rolling this one in for 10 uses. Okay, just to recap, my Pat McGrath is staying in for 3 more uses. We're rolling it over from last month. Then I've got this little Milk Makeup mascara that is coming in for 10 uses. No, for 9 uses. The Milk mascara is coming in for 9 uses. I am rolling in the Adept palette for 10 uses. The Kaoli perfume is coming in for 5 uses. And then the Soul Body oil is coming in for 10 uses. That is actually a pretty good lineup. I'm excited to get started on these products. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.